I had a thought about pollution that I wanted to put down. I see batches of litter a bit more clearly than a lot of drivers do. And that got me thinking about pollution. On the side of littering, I think that a lot of people don't realize the impact of time and volumes of people doing the same thing, as in littering. You know, and a person might think, oh, it's just a cup, or it's a empty pack of cigarettes, or it's a water bottle. But then, like in the city, you have thousands of people who are throwing this stuff out as well. And then decades of thousands of people throwing out similar stuff. I think that kind of relates to pollution in that I don't think all people who are putting hazardous stuff into the air, water, and soil are bad people. I think they are finding ways of making it seem more ethical than it is. And I think that kind of relates to them not looking at the bigger picture of lots of factories and companies putting similar stuff out that doesn't break down and so on. Now, there is a certain contradiction in that you look at historically, you look at some of the heavy crap that people were putting out there, and the effects of on people's health, and how they would fight to avoid changing their ways even after people were clearly getting sick and dying. That, to a degree, still exists, and there's clearly an immorality with that. When people get to a certain point and knowing that what they're doing is wrong and them refusing to change. But I think at least at certain stages, people are able to rationalize how the hazardous stuff they're putting out isn't that bad because it's at low levels. Hell, the government even adds to that. I did read recently how there's a certain inadequacy to the, like the parts per million or billion that the government sets as standards. That works when it's something that is a rare thing put out. In other words, a factory or two here or there that's putting this stuff out. Or if it's something that breaks down over time. But there's been multiple cases where something had accumulative effects that was not anticipated. They would figure out that a certain parts per million or billion of a certain substance into the air or water was not going to be harmful, but they didn't take into account that the factory was going to be putting that same thing into the atmosphere or water for an extended period of time, and that it did not break down. And there has been consequences for that. Anyway, I mainly wanted to note that companies, individuals, and the rest of us would benefit if we looked at the accumulative effects of larger scale activity of things like littering, polluting, and such.